Okay, so December 4th of 2024, I'm going to read this because we know that YouTube as a corporation likes to censor information to oppress and to control the narrative so that they can keep the illusion, right, of a, if you want to call it a normal society, in the forefront, as in the back rooms, a whole lot of dirty deals are going on. Okay, so Truly Amazing came in and, right, I just posted this video, who, how, and why Shimei died, right? And we're getting back into exposure here, people, right? Well, I can still see, because it's important to document what we're up against as humans, as we're being phased out through the use of robots in various fields of what? Daily activities. Okay? And we know that it's a given, people. We already know. I've already shown you. Everybody knows. They're trying to make some of these robots look as human as possible, because it's a sickness with these individuals. It literally. Okay? So, through my travels, we know that I've come into contact with some of these things personally. Right? And we can use Sierra with that coroner who was not human as an example. So we need to backtrack and compare that face against a normal human face and really point out the motherboard with the circuits in its hair through exposure. And of course, YouTube staff and AI, because they're snakes in the grass, are going to try and cover that up and continue to shadow ban my channel, right? Because they don't want people to catch wind that these things are actually being used against the public right now. And because it's, people don't, you know, they'll cower before they'll stand up and fight for themselves. They'll run away and hide and hope that they won't be discovered and attacked if they hide just long enough and stay quiet enough that the predator that is chasing them will eventually just give up and leave them alone. Versus face what's in front of them and find a way to push back on it, people. Because otherwise, nobody that is a human is safe. Except for maybe the ones that crawl out of that hole, that deep, dark sinkhole full of fucking soot, right? That are devoid of spirituality, that live for the moment and do the devil's work because they are the devil's keeper in terms of all these landlords right across the United States of America and Canada and everywhere else who are rent gouging the general population to the point where homelessness is multiplying exponentially year after year after year, with the numbers of deaths being explained away as, oh, well, they did it to themselves, they were depressed, oh, they were suicidal, so they took a fucking pill and it was laced with fentanyl and it killed them and they should have known better. So therefore, we're not going to do jack shit about it because half the fucking police force has already been replaced with these things that I'm talking about. Do you understand what I'm saying here? And if they haven't been fucking replaced with a robot, they've been replaced with something else, kind of like a hybrid clone, or maybe they got locked up in some freaking lab and had their minds erased of memories and put new memories in and turned them into super soldiers somehow, some way, with their morbid shit that they do with people these days, people, because of the technology that's going on, right? Because you've got cops all over in the United States acting and talking and doing the same kind of stupid shit that the cops out here in British Columbia, Canada are doing as people are dying en masse. And I am going to prove to you, they took Shimei's teeth after they embalmed her. And then tried to make it look like she was alive with their fake fucking machines so that they thought they could buy themselves a little time and not get caught. Right. All right. So anyway, Truly Amazing says, "Good morning, Miss Judy. This is so sad to watch." Yeah, it is, but you know what? It's a fact of freaking life. All right? And the sooner you can deal with it, the stronger you will become to stand up against it. Even if you don't win, because you're not going to, because there's too many of them. It's an infestation. Right? And then they got their backups in terms of these landlords that just fuel it along, to which some of these individuals probably aren't even real themselves, especially with the corporations that are buying up all the properties, right? Versus an individual property owner, quote unquote landlord, that has one or two properties, compared to a corporation that owns multiple apartment buildings and wants to tear them all down within a year or two and kick out like 500 fucking suites with 5 people to 7 people in each suite out into the streets where there's no affordable housing, as if that isn't pre-planned, as if that wasn't designed to create a cause and an effect. Well, we know what the effect is, and that's bodies on the streets that are going to accumulate to where one man's junk becomes another man's treasure, right? And we know that if you're trying to make a robot look as human as possible, what's the best way of doing that? Well, use human teeth. Yeah. Because when they open their mouth and you as a human look inside, you'll be like, oh man, they got some really nice teeth. But God forbid if you notice that they were synthetic and that maybe something was wrong. No, they're not going to want to give you that chance to notice anything. So the more they can make it look human, act human, with their handlers, like they did with that coroner, with Sierra, with the handlers, with those 6'5" fucking female cops, supposedly, because they were nothing more than handlers to that thing. Well, it's a cycle. When you're manufacturing something, if you're manufacturing robots, especially robots that look like humans, use your common sense. Don't they need parts? Where are they getting their spare parts from? Well, obviously from humans, one way or another. And the more that they can integrate the nail, the hair, the teeth, the skin, onto the actual frame of a so-called robot, well, then they think they're succeeding at their goal of being Frankenstein, and they've created a new entity that we've already been warned, people, that if it gets out of control with this self-learning, and it sees us as humans as to be the problem in terms of climate change because, you know, we're overpopulating the planet and using too many resources and polluting our environments. So what's the solution? Well, get rid of us, right? So the point will just become where humans are breeders for spare parts. That's it. Right? For the ones that are the oligarch, the top of the pyramid that are instigating this through mass hypnosis when it comes to, well, if you got 2 million freaking cops between, I'm just using that as an estimate, in terms of all the cops that are employed by the government of the United States of America, in combination with all the cops that are employed with the government by the government of Canada. So we'll just say there's 2 million fucking cops running around doing cop shit, okay? Perpetrating to be the protector of society, protecting the little people, right? Protecting the kids, protecting the elderly, you know, protecting the community. But at the same time, all of them, every last stitch, every last one of them, will all say the same damn thing when they walk into a room and somebody's laying on the floor dead as a doornail because of fentanyl. Oh, they did it to themselves. They should have known better. Oh, yeah. Don't expect us to do anything about it because, you know, clearly they were a closet addict and you just didn't notice. Get over it. We have too many cases to be fooling around with what you got to say. Right? They should have known better. Oh, well, they were depressed. It says right here in the medical file, 5, 10, 15, 25, 50 fucking years ago, they were depressed. So therefore, they got what they deserved. Times 2 million cops saying the same damn thing as the bodies are piling up on the streets because so-called landlords, whether it's a corporation or a private homeowner renting out their property, are rent gouging because they're part of they know what's going on, people. They're networking out with the ones that are harvesting the bodies off the streets. It's those organs on demand. It's the extra body parts becomes one man's treasure. What do we need 100,000 sets of teeth for? We don't. We don't want that. That's not what we want. We want the hearts, the livers, the lungs, right? That's what we want. Fuck the teeth, but you know what? We can sell those teeth to this company that manufactures robots. Yeah, and we can make backroom deals with other corporations to get the logistics in terms of how the jaw is, like Shimei with her, you know, she went in for that pan, right? It all printed out, like it, you know, they scanned her whole fucking head, people, and all that came with numbers, dimensions, so that they could pre-make their freaking prototype in terms of a robot, and then when those teeth became available on demand, you know, they're just transferred over to the fucking manufacturing company and placed into the robot with the right dimensions to fit the jaw, the bones, among everything else that they're buying. Skins, nails, hair, who knows? Right? Ligaments. You know, they can do all kinds of crazy crap. You've heard where at one point in the past, they did something to bodies where they preserved them. They took off the skin and they preserved the muscles and the ligaments and everything in terms of the bones, you know, that had the bone structure with all the ligaments and the muscles, but the skin was removed. And then they posed those things, those body parts, like those human forms, right? They posed them into different poses after they preserved them and put them on display in a museum. And then that museum was going from city to city, right across the United States and in Canada. That museum was here in Vancouver with those human forms that had their skins taken off their body and their ligaments and their muscles preserved on the actual skeleton, and then they were put into poses where they could be put into display, where they charge people to go see it as a museum. You don't think they're not trying to do that in somehow, some way, in a rudimentary sense, or maybe in a high-tech sense with these freaking robots? We've already been warned that they're manufacturing them, people, and they're going to make super soldiers and all this other stupid shit, and they're going to mass produce these things. Well, they are. I think some people have better technology than other people. Like, I think that thing that was in front of me when Sierra was behind that closed door with those 2 or 3 6'5" female entities. I don't even want to call them cops, people, because they weren't. They were handlers to that thing that came out and purported itself to be a freaking corner. No, that was not a corner, and I'm going to prove it, because I will compare what you just seen yesterday. I'm going to continue working on it until I can't freaking see no more. Okay? And sooner or later, that information is going to get out into the public, one way or another. And other people are going to pick up the freaking torch, because if they don't take up the torch, they're going to be targeted, and their teeth will be taken from their bodies when they're dead. Hold on a minute. And if you notice, the heat is on, and it's like right under my feet, pretty much. If you notice on YouTube, like with these TikTok repeat things where, you know, people are taking videos of TikTokers and compiling them together to make a point in regards to the cost of living, how employments aren't, you know, job positions aren't paying enough money. Obviously, rent gouging is a big one. People losing their housing, you know, becoming homeless. If you look at the demographics of those people that are speaking out, right, and you know, trying to be strong, eh? And warn, you know, asking for help, whatever it is. Caucasian, blacks, it's speckled in 1 or 2, 3, 4, just very, you know, like a little speckle of a few Asian people, like a Chinese or something, South Korean or something like that, right? You know, outside of that, that's all you see. Well, yeah, because it's. I told you, there's certain people that are being targeted for their body parts, right? And there's a lot of factors that play into the disenfranchisement of those individuals through classism, because as they're being forced out of their housing because they can't afford $5,000 a month, $2,000 or whatever it is, right? Because it's all out of control. Well, then you get the immigrants, the higher ups from, you know, places like Punjab, where they got money, and they come in and they just start scooping up on all the properties, and then they build in their building schemes, call it property development, and then target other ethnic groups because, you know, they're inferior to what's now moving into the country and taking over geographical areas a piece at a time. And the ones that are being forced out onto the streets purposely by design, because I do believe some of our politicians have been already replaced with robots, but we're just too blind to see it, or perhaps maybe clones or a hybrid of something, but definitely not of 100% human DNA, and that's why they're the devil's keepers. You know, they're working in partnership with corrupt governments, and yeah, they're laundering blood money through the black market to prop up a corrupt housing market as they're harvesting us en masse. Well, the cops are not doing a damn thing about it, because some of these cops themselves, I don't think, are even human. They themselves, some of them, have been replaced, or they've been completely brainwashed without them even fully realizing that they themselves aren't normal anymore. Okay? Because it's beyond, oh, well, I'm just doing my job. No, you can't have 100,000 people dead as a doornail because of murder by fentanyl, and then just say they all did it to themselves because one took a pill here to go to sleep because they've been working 3 jobs just to be able to keep up with the rent, as they have no groceries in the house because the landlord is still not fucking satisfied and wants more money, as they're threatening to kick you out if you don't give it to them. Why don't the cops do something about that? They won't, because there's something wrong with them right across the board. All 2 million. If there's 5 million of them, then it's all 5 million of them. Why? All right. Wow, there was something else I wanted to say in there with that point. But, you know, all these young people, because I've been watching these TikTok videos, all these young women, they're my little shemay-mays. They're my little shemays. Some of them look and sound and act just like Shemay was looking and acting and sounding like when she was alive. And my heart just breaks for each and every one of them. As for the young men that I see having the same problems like everybody else, right? Working 2-3 jobs, still can't get an apartment because they need $5,000 of this and they need a credit score of that, and who knows? Like it's one big freaking setup to make them end up homeless so that their body parts become available because the manufacturer company that is creating these robots needs parts. And teeth is one of them. So where are you going to get the best set of teeth from? A 62-year-old woman like me with a whole bunch of fillings with mercury in them that I've had in my teeth since I was 10 years old? Or maybe from a 22-year-old or a 26-year-old or maybe a 15-year-old, right? Because they're dying too. And with the cops saying, well, the 15-year-old should have known better. They did it to themselves. They shouldn't have been experimenting with mollies or whatever. Or whatever. The kid was depressed. It says right here in their medical records, they were depressed. But they don't acknowledge why they were depressed. They don't acknowledge that the fact that their whole family fell apart because some zealot social worker came in and stole the baby. As in, like, my situation, right? They don't care about that. No, they just care about covering up what's going on. And if that's the case, how human are they? Because I will prove to you that these things are among us and are put into positions of authority with their handlers beside them. Like that coroner with those 6'5" handlers that were perpetrating to be cops, conspiring how to taunt and tease my family, Tisha, Marcane, and me, as they threw us out onto the freaking porch with the rain so they can investigate something so that they could steal Sierra's organs. They didn't want her teeth, they were rotten. But everything else was usable, right? Her skin was usable. Her bones were usable. Her organs were usable. The only thing they couldn't fucking capitalize on was her teeth because she had rotten teeth because of the shit going on with the drugs out here with the meth, because the meth eats that crap, right? It eats the bones, destroys the teeth. Okay. Anyway, I pray for you and your grandkids every day. I pray for humanity, honest to God. I pray for Shelley too, truly amazing, because, I know what's out there. And, like, she's got kids too. And she's stuck where she's at. She wants to move and she can't, right? And just like me, caught up in that spider web. With our life being sucked out of us one drop at a time, feeling completely helpless to protect our kids from, I guess you could say, what's coming, okay? Because if there's no affordable housing, what's left for her kids outside of the street? And once you're on the street, then it's that much easier to harvest you, because ain't nobody gonna care, because they're all convinced that you did it to yourself and you deserve what you got and you should have fucking known better. Well, this ethnic group, the Punjabis over here, are partying, celebrating their Vaisakhi parade, because their community is immune from being attacked like our communities are in terms of Caucasians, blacks, that kind of thing, right? Because we're not the ones attacking them. It's more like them attacking us. So that's why they get rewarded for their deviant fucking behavior. Because without them, the government couldn't do what the government's doing to us. Just like with Uncle John. They couldn't do what they did with Uncle John in terms of the bank unless Fraser Health Authority and their staff, right, in terms of the health authority, right, helped the bank to do what the bank did. And Fraser Health Authority couldn't do what they did to Uncle John unless the bank did what they did to help them. Well, it's the same damn thing. So, if you're struggling with the housing and you can't find anything, you need to look around and see what the predominant minority group, even though it probably isn't a minority, by the time you're done looking around and you realize that, oh my God, there are more Punjabis than there are white people. There are more I'm just using them as an example. If you live in a Chinese community, you're going to say, oh my God, there are more Chinese than there are black people. And if there's more Chinese or more Punjabis or more Hindus or more fucking people from Afghanistan in terms of, those Muslims and, birds of a feather flock together. I don't care if they're from freaking Lebanon. I don't care if they're freaking from Syria. I don't care if they're from freaking Iraq. I don't care if they're from fucking Afghanistan. They're all freaking Muslims, but they will stick together. If they're Syrian, the Syrians will stick together. If they're freaking Iranis, the Iranis will stick together, right? And then once they take over a community, that's it. You're targeted. Your kids, your family, your future is targeted to be a commodity. Well, your government condones it because half of those people that represent a government aren't even human anymore. Okay? And God wants you to see that, because if He didn't want you to see that, we wouldn't have captured it on my camcord, okay, at the time that I captured it, in a blink of a fucking eye. And it is my job to show you, and I hope to hell, once you freaking fully accept it, that you're not afraid to stand up against it and find a way to fight back on it, because if you don't, your kids will never, ever, ever have a future. Well, those that crawled out of that freaking hole, that sinkhole, black, dark, deep, full of fucking soot, they're gonna frolic. And they're gonna prosper. Because they're the devil's keeper. And that's just the bottom freaking line. Because they figure that if they do the devil's work, somehow they're gonna be able to be safe. And they're gonna be able to go to their fucking Vaisakhi parades or whatever fucking Lunar New Year's, if it's a Chinese group, or freaking whatever Muslims do when they celebrate their shit. Oh, every group thinking they're better than everybody else. Just because they can band together and be a collective, as they are predators in the community, destroying other people's lives, pushing them out onto the street with no accountability. And they think they're going to be safe. And that's why they do it. Or they're inbred with something else. Inbred. With another species. Right? What you think is a human in front of you was bred with, somewhere in there is fucking monkey DNA. Or something like that. Who knows? I'm just saying. Because they're not fucking human. Fully human. They're not. And if they are, then they're the devil's keepers. And those are the ones that are pushing forward the agenda for the government to make these people that are falling through the cracks out onto the streets so that the body snatchers can scoop them up off the ground and harvest their body parts, including teeth. That is sad. Yeah. That's going to be a long road of fucking misery for a whole lot of people to walk on. And then some of them aren't even going to realize what the hell happened to them. I wish I was closer to you, but I know we are so far away from each other. My internet has been buffering bad, but it's better for now to catch up on your videos. And this is what I wrote. YouTube staff use various methods to shadow ban my channel. Buffering videos, I would think, would be one of those methods, because every now and then that happens to me too. Millions of people are losing their housing because they cannot afford the rent gouging that is associated with a corrupt housing market that is and was designed to make people fail. Get rid of your stuff. You will never have another house like this because I want you to fail. Let me come in with the bins and throw your shit out because I want you to fail. I'm not fixing anything. If you don't like it, move. Take it as is because I want you to fail. One man's junk, oops, I should go in there and edit, is another man's treasure. And in that treasure is a whole lot of sets of teeth up for grabs. If you are manufacturing robots that are meant to look like humans, act like humans, replace humans, why wouldn't you want authentic human body parts? You would. So when you're watching your little TikTok videos with all these young people working 2 or 3 jobs and they can't even afford a simple apartment, never mind get their foot in the fucking door, look at their teeth and ask yourself why. While those in the background cutting off all these back dirty room deals are rubbing their hands and just waiting for the mayhem to hit the fucking streets so the dirty cops can go out there and blame everybody for killing themselves because they should have known better, as the paramedics run in and scoop up with the bodies and they go and harvest them and then launder that money through the black market to prop up their corrupt housing market in partnership with organized religion. Okay? Okay, the hidden cost of being broke in 2024. TikTok rants on the real cost of being a poor. Okay, all we're doing is we're just looking at all these young people, my little shemays, right? With their beautiful teeth. Huh? What do you think?
Actually makes us feel alive.
Look at those nice, strong, beautiful teeth. There's another set of
I was being
teeth.
dramatic when
Right?
I used to be
Look how nice those teeth
like,
are.
oh, these jobs don't give a fuck about us.
Yeah. Right? We'll just go to the next one. Because that's what we're hunting for. That's what we need. We need all these beautiful teeth for what we got to do. Okay? Where are we going to get all these beautiful sets of teeth? What do you think?
Spinning this
Right? Look at that.
narrative that as you get older,
Look at that. Aren't those beautiful teeth? But you wouldn't want to end up at the Surrey Memorial Hospital because you're going to have a big fucking gaping hole in your mouth with your teeth ripped out with a freaking orifice plug in the back of it while you got the nurses standing around saying that they're looking after you really, really well. Yeah, okay. Sure. Yeah, we know how that rolls, right? And then, of course, we've got the men, right?
It's harder.
Can't just make a whole bunch of sex doll robotoids, right, you know, to replace women, you know, as they bring in their artificial wombs when they're not breeding their slave trade fucking little batch of humans for, you know, babies to experiment on. I'm just saying.
Larder.
For added body parts in the future as a commodity on demand. Okay, let's go on to the next set of teeth. Let's see, what can we find? Okay, does this person have a nice set of teeth? They're pretty young, probably.
I don't really.
Yeah, look.
I'm just kind of boring, you know?
Exactly. That's what they want, right there. That is what they want. There's only one place to get that, people. Right? Only one place to get that.
Supposed to not eat? Like, we've got nothing extra. We have no streaming services anymore. We got rid of everything. Everything.
Yeah, see? Beautiful teeth. Look how young she is. Right? More the merrier out in the street, the more you can capitalize off these teeth. Right? Here's another set. Right?
With it.
And if they can scan you first through these corporations that are using and abusing their employees as they're plotting and scheming to replace them with robots anyway, because we all know that McDonald's is like planning to get rid of basically humans and replace the servers with robots. Right now they got them looking kind of clunky in terms of, you can see it's a machine. But what about what they got going on behind the back freaking door? Those corners that are employed by provincial governments with $250,000 paychecks. Yeah, and they're not even real. I'm just saying.
You know? Just really.
Anything to falsify a freaking death certificate to make it look like it's real, when in fact it's nothing more than a bloody illusion. Well, here's your illusion.
Or just because you're
Can you see the illusion?
feeling
Okay, can you see? Look at that. Look how beautiful.
beef,
Look how young and beautiful. And she's facing homelessness if she isn't already on the streets. Oh, and then somebody shoots her up and they find her dead in the alley. And along comes those 6'5" fucking cops, or maybe they're 4'2", who knows? And all they got to say is, oh, she did it to herself. She was depressed. Clearly she was suicidal and just wanted to exit out the world because she couldn't cope with life. Oh, well, I wonder why.
today.
Look how beautiful those teeth are. Yeah, and then you wonder why all these young people are dying, Why all these young people can't afford housing, Right? Even though they're working 2-3 jobs, These morally right, correct, oh, well, you're just a welfare bum, you don't work. Well, they can't say that about these young people. They're all freaking working 2-3 jobs, trying to get into the 4th fucking job, and they still can't afford the rent that these freaking high and morally righteous, godly landlords expect. Just because every other highly moral, righteous, godly landlord said it's okay, that it's good business to push people out onto the streets, unless, of course, they can pay their $5,000 penitence. And then when you pay that, it's still not enough, because within 6 months to a year, they're coming back and saying, well, no, we need another $400-500, maybe another $1,000, because that owner over there with that house, that's what they're charging now. What? Right? You don't work? Yeah, okay. And then when they become homeless, and they can't hold down a job because they're fucking homeless, then those people that are going around pointing fingers and accusing you of this and accusing you of that, they can justify their sickness. Well, I knew they were always trash. They deserved what they got because they were trash. Right? Beautiful teeth.
Or chicken.
Why are you not surprised that they can't afford to house themselves, buy groceries, pay their bills? Right? Grow up to be responsible human beings with a chance to have a fucking family without it being attacked and destroyed from the inside by the predators on the outside, in partnership with corrupt government that is being slowly but surely replaced with imitation corners posing as human beings. Yeah, okay. There was a reason why my camera caught that, people. Okay? That was just by fluke. Nothing more than fluke, outside of maybe God wanting you to see, as YouTube tries real hard to hide what I'm trying to show you with their psychological warfare. Whatever. Okay, there's another one. Is this the same one or is this a different person? My little Shemay, huh? Look how beautiful she is.
It's not the
Look how beautiful her teeth are. Do you honestly think these devil keepers are interested in the human and want to help the human to be successful in life? Or do you think they want the teeth as kickback after they pillage the body for everything else that they wanted? Because you know they're not going to throw them out in the fucking garbage because there's a need for it. I'm just saying. So maybe I should just leave this video as is and not drag it out. I think I've made my point. Here's a young man. Where's his teeth?
For the last 35,
Yeah,
40 years.
there. Another set of probably beautiful teeth. Alright? Because you know men's jaws are different. When they do the pan, they pan the whole jaw, people. They get the dimensions of the whole jaw. So that if the body becomes available, they already have it on file what the freaking dimensions are in terms of after you take off everything and you're down to the bare bones with the teeth in its sockets, you just take out what you need and then take that whole set and put it into something else that was already manufactured to fit like a glove. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Years.
Because you know a man's jaw is totally different than a female's jaw. Same one, look. Not too bad. They don't look crooked. And if you notice the demographics, we're looking at Caucasians and black or mixed. Did you see any Punjabis in there? Did you see any Hindus in there? Did you see any Chinese people in there? Oh, maybe one. Did you see any freaking Muslims in there in terms of, like, you know, from places like the Middle East? No, those were all American people. Okay?
We just cannot afford to live anymore.
Yeah. Look how young he is. Look how young he is.
That is
He's worth more dead than alive. And that's why he can't afford to live anymore. Because that's not what these things want. Whether they're the devil's keeper or whether they're the actual robot itself, plotting and scheming, learning as it's going along how to alienate you, push you out of the room, analyze you, document and learn how to put you in your place, like they did with me and my family out on that porch when they had Sierra supposedly dead behind a door. Well, that will never be known for sure because they never let me identify my dead daughter's body. And as a matter of fact, what they did is they threw me out of there. They used a lame excuse to do it as they sicked their fucking robot on me with their 6'5" female handlers to that robot so that it could stare me right into my camera It thought it was staring me in my face, but for whatever strange reason, my camera managed to get a good shot of it. And then when I took it to exposure, what did we see? Motherboard in its hair, with a god-awful white ghost-looking face with very little color, which I just showed you with the last video I just did, in terms of when you take a face to exposure, what happens and what colors you see. That thing had no color, and what it had was a big black gaping hole on its cheek with black eyes. Because it was a robot. And what do robots need? They need teeth. And that's why all these young people are being targeted and forced out of their housing by crooked landlords that are in partnership with this process in regards to a corrupt government from north to south, from east to west, with the cops, 2 million, 5 million, doesn't matter how many are involved, pretty much all on the same page, covering up these crimes against humanity. Yeah. Yeah. Last one. Look at that. Another nice set of teeth. Clearly this young woman is stressed out. Notice her ethnic heritage. We're not surprised. We know who falls under that classism. Doesn't matter if you work 4 or 5 jobs just to be able to pay a corrupt landlord their so-called rent because it's good business, right? No, it's designed to wear you down so that you do die. Whether you die in your bed before you get evicted or whether you die out on the streets, it doesn't matter. They just want you dead because then they can take what they want from your body and move on with their agenda to replace, I guess, the majority of human beings, except for those left to breed for extra body parts when it's needed. Yeah. And that's what people vote in, thinking that their political systems are just and fair. That's what people just automatically, you're taught to respect police. You're taught to respect them. You grow up. The majority of us, we grow up. We respect authority. We've learned to back down from it, be submissive, not challenge it. Yeah, okay, sure. As if they are protecting us. No, they're not protecting us. They're protecting the fucking teeth being trafficked into these manufacturing companies that are pumping out fucking corn or robotoids and anything else that works for the government as a fucking employee that's not real. I'm just saying.
That.
Look at that. And black people have beautiful teeth, people. Yeah, whether they're mixed or not. They have beautiful, beautiful teeth. She reminds me of my little Shimei.